All right, this is the notice of public meeting, Monday, July 12th, normal council meeting. Everybody's here but Julie, and I expect her to be here in just a few minutes. You know, she was picking up her niece, yeah. So basically, we have sufficient quorum established, call to order. If you'll stand, I'll ask Joe to give the invocation, and we'll follow that by the pledge.
Please bow your heads. Dear God, we seek your help with our business tonight. Bless this meeting and help us to make the best use of our time. We wish to reach agreements that are satisfactory to all. Thank you for your heavenly blessings. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, we've got the agenda in front of us, and I don't think we have anything we need to modify, so if I take a motion to approve, to adopt the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? The next item is approval of minutes from the last meeting, June 21st, 2021. Motion.
I'll make that motion here in a second, but right before ordinance 2021-04, it says that it carried unanimously, and it didn't. In the ordinance itself, it shows that.
Okay. We just
so-
need to make that adjustment to the meeting minutes.
Yes,
if you
sir.
don't mind.
Which paragraph?
Page 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sixth paragraph. Starting with the mayor read title.
Okay, a motion then approved with the adjustment as amended.
I move to approve minutes as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, then we'll go ahead and go on. We don't have any old business. The first item is Kevin Perry with Health and Fitness Center wants to come up, and please come on up, sir, and introduce yourself and everything.
Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Perry. Most of the faces I recognize, but Miss Vanessa, Mr. Paul, I don't know you guys, but Kevin Perry. We've been back in Iowa for about 3 years now. Me and the wife, the kids, we moved to Moss Bluff, lived over there for about 9 years. And we had a facility, Dynamic Dimensions, which got one in Sulphur as well as Moss Bluff. And come back here, and we got a little 24-hour fitness down the road, but that little place is really geared for certain individuals. And I've just really been kind of going through and thinking, and been talking with different people in the town, just kind of poking their brain and see if this was something that we could possibly do here. And my thought was try to propose or do something, work with you guys, or how would we to go through this, but developing and opening up a health and fitness center, a wellness center. When we were living in Moss Bluff, my parents, they're senior citizens. They would have to travel to get some kind of exercise. They would have to travel all the way to Moss Bluff to do something. And they had a big Olympic-sized pool in there, and my father, he needed that exercise, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other citizens in Iowa, older citizens, that need that exercise. Because I guarantee you, my parents, Mr. Hess, Joe, they're probably not going to the 24-hour fitness right there. So that's what I started thinking, man, why couldn't we do something here? And so I just been thinking about it and wanted to come today and ask you guys. I think a wellness center like that for the citizens for the town of Iowa would be good. I think I know it would create some part-time jobs and some full-time jobs for college kids and high school kids. How do you pay for something like this? That I absolutely no idea. I know we'll probably have to work with each other or work however to get grant money from the state or whoever, but I think I really think this town has an opportunity to do something for the citizens, and especially we have more people, in my opinion, moving out of the town than coming back, and some of us that are coming back When I get off of work, I gotta go spend time in town to go work out or exercise or bring my kids to lessons in Lake Charles. And I think it would be something if we could do something for the senior citizens first, and then slowly develop into doing something for the youth and so forth, so anybody else, you know. So that's what I have, and if this was to develop into more of a conversation that people in the town or you guys would be interested in doing, and I would love to help if at all possible. I'm here trying to talk about it. So,
We built more, you know, I mean, I just need someone to propose something that is doable, you know, within our confines, you know, because we're kind of constrained on what we can spend money for, you know, on things like that. But I'm more than willing to push the limits, you know. Of course, we got Mr. Bouquet to help us keep straight. But, you know, that would take someone, I guess, taking some time and looking at it.
Right.
I don't have a problem with the town if the council was okay to, you know, invest some money in bringing in a, you know, what you want to call it, somebody to, you know, like Walt or something, you know, to look at it and see what it could be done, you know, what was available and determine what the funding ways would be. But then, of course, you'd have to have a place to put it, which is,
correct. And I've,
you know,
look,
that's,
I've been here for 42 years. I've done rode around. I already know a lot of the property that you guys own. And my first initial thought was on Highway 90, where you got your little center right there. This place just sits there. Why not add on to it? You got plenty of room to have a decently sized parking lot. Now, I don't know the property lines from where, you know, exact points.
actually, it's all behind it, all that open field
All
behind it.
behind it and how far
Yeah.
west it goes. I know the dollar store is right there, but
Yeah, that's,
you don't need something the size of what Gigi's used to be, or how big Dynamic Dimension, you know, depending, you know, I don't think we need something of that magnitude here. I think, you know, it'd be good to have something for the citizens, the senior citizens and the youth, and,
Why don't we make a committee for it? Like
well,
Ms.
I'm
Julie's always
okay with
plugged
it, you know, I
in.
mean, you know, that's what I'm saying, I just need someone to kind of give directions, you know, to figure out what could be, you know, I'm open, and then at some point, we would probably want to see someone, you know, develop some sort of, kind of like we were talking about on the road, you know, not an engineering, but someone that specializes in that, to develop what would that cost, you know, because that would be one of the essential things. We would have the ability at the back, but then the cost and where we would fund it. And I'm not saying we couldn't, because we, you know, depending on what goes on, but the first thing is we need to determine what would work and what is really good for the community. You know, what do we really need, instead of just a wish list, you know,
Correct.
of,
And that's really what I came just to throw this out there. You know, I was wondering, has it been brought up
I don't think it's
in
been brought
months
up.
or years, you know?
Right now, I think most of our focus has been on the park
Okay.
as opposed to,
Right.
you know, this aspect, but it's something that's really practical for us on this side, because I don't drive to Sulphur to go swimming at the park, you know, and I don't know of many people that do. It's quite a distance to go swimming, and I know we don't use the Ward 7 because the cost that you spend, but then it's also just about as far, just a different direction, so.
And you know, along that, of course, I love conventions. They have healthy food cooking.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of other things besides just exercise. And Daniel, I think those other places, they really like give discounts to the high school athletes, to the, you know, they're very participative in it.
And I guess, you know, another, you know, is the town partner up with, you know, Imperial Health or St. Pat, or one of these, and that's what Dynamics did in Sulphur and in Moss Bluff. They, as well as they you know, Gigi's did it in Jennings. They partnered up with the different hospitals, brought in the professionals, the people that actually know how to run these things. You know, and I think that maybe the town or someone had to put up, you know, say you guys help, you got the land and the building, but we bring in the professionals that know
Yeah.
what's
Yeah,
going
the
on.
thing is, I wouldn't want to constrain the current building we have because that's set up for a specific purpose.
Yes.
But then that does lead into, that's probably a good place for it. You want to take the lead on it? I don't mind.
Yeah.
You know, you have my authority on that to see what it takes. You know, I'm more than comfortable and come up maybe with a develop. Just, hey, we can also use our website if we want to say, you know, ask people and you know, feedback and things like that and do surveys or anything we need to do that, you know, the people at the town will help you any way you need to help, you know, gather that information if you want.
Sure. Well, that sounds good. I'll link up with you. I have your number and
okay?
we'll make a little plan.
You know, Gerald, you okay with that? I mean,
Yeah.
Vanessa, you okay?
I don't think we lose anything by exploring.
No, I'm all for it because, you know, we talked about how to make our community even more, how do you want to say, special for the people to live here, to want to live here. You know, we talk about parks and about expanding parks and things like that and all this other. This would be very ideal. That's the kind of stuff that we'd want to do. So, okay,
Thank you.
sounds good.
Daniel, you got my number, bub, so
And then, so, you know,
willing to help anything, you know, ideas and make
Please.
phone calls to try to get us in the right direction. You know, just preliminary. Let's see what this. You know,
yeah, see what we can do. And then, you know, the other is, you know, once we know kind of what we want, then that makes it a little easier to start going out and looking at, you know, what grants can we get, you know, wellness grants and things
Yes.
like that, you know, that they exist out there.
Right.
It's just we've never looked at it because we really don't know what we want, you know. That may give us the option to. So, and the town is always willing, you know, if we work it out, you know, things like that. You know, of course, we may have to charge something to get it, but you know, we can maybe even subsidize some part of it to help, because we're already trying to do that for our senior citizens anyway. Just what y'all did this last year, you know, to give them an extra $12,000 to help pay for a place to go. You know, that's all right in line with what we're trying to do to help them, because we have a large population of, you know, senior citizens, but also those that are not that well off and that would be able to take advantage of for a healthy lifestyle. So, thank you.
Well, thank y'all.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you, Cal.
Okay, the next item is a motion to adopt the millage rates. Be it resolved that the following millage rates are hereby levied on the 2021 tax roll on all property subject to taxation by the town of Iowa. This is the general alimony tax. I'm assuming that's the one we're talking about. This is not very much, what, $3,000 a year? So it's not.
No, that's not, this is our ad valorem tax.
Oh, our ad valorem, which right now our ad valorem tax, we only pull about $100,000 a year from taxes, property taxes, which is on the low end of the entire parish. But that's because we've got so many homes that fall under homestead exemption, and we don't have the businesses or the larger corporations to be able to fund it. So now this is just the same tax. We're not asking for an increase. We're just asking for
No, we cannot do a roll forward.
at this point. So this is just holding.
It's the same millage rate that we adopted last year.
Yep. So this is a flat from our perspective. It is not a change. It's just we're asking for the same millage that we were granted last year. Be it further resolved that the proper administrative officials of the parish of Calcasieu, state of Louisiana be, and they are hereby empowered, authorized, and directed to spread said taxes as here and above set forth upon the assessment roll of the said parish for the year 2021, and to make the collection of the taxes imposed for and on behalf of the taxing authority according to law, and the taxes herein levied shall become a permanent lien and privilege of all property subject to taxation as herein set forth, and collection thereof shall be enforceable in the manner provided by law. So, you know, if I could have a motion to adopt it.
So move.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Does anybody have anything they would like to say to it? You know, you're always welcome, you know, on that to come forward if you want to feel comfortable. All right, then it's a done deal for this year. Okay. The next item is Jeff Cudley here? Not here? Well, we do, okay, we'll go ahead and then go on the wall. Before you get started, one of the issues we have on the, trying to get our park, started, you know, some of the things like the Buddy field here, and of course the back. I understand that they're not going to be able to start it till later, but I'd like to get the Buddy field in and done before the next year. And they said that they're waiting on some information from you on the drainage. There's some detailed drainage. Is there any way we can get that prioritized so that we can go ahead and get that started?
Excuse me, I did meet with Jeff, and he showed me the master plan of the entire park. And I said, well, Jeff, we need to figure out the drainage on this. And he said, you're right. I have given him the topography in the Buddy Ball Field area, but in good process, we need to try to make sure that the steps we take early are going to be sound for the future. So I need to continue with the topography of the other area and identify the watersheds and the way it should drain or could drain or may drain. And we may have to tweak a little bit of his concept drawing. So that's what he's referring to.
Okay.
See, he says, okay, now we really need to get the whole thing, not just a piece like we thought. So.
Is there any way we can somehow put that on high priorities? Because I'd like to at least get the Buddy Ball Field in place.
Right.
You know, and then of course we'll talk about this later on about
Yeah.
what we'll do as a temporary, you know, fix on the other fields for this next year. Because I know there's a lot of concern about, you know, wanting to have some fields to play on, so.
I'll review with Jeff and see what we can do. Maybe we can focus on this half first or something like that to kind of get the, because the drainage, it goes out about 3 different places, so we can work it out. But that was really the key, is like, okay, now he has parking everywhere, et cetera, and we want to
Yeah.
make sure that,
And the thing is with the parking, you know, I mean, we'll park whatever we have right now, you know, in the places as we do it. You know, to me, parking is the last thing that we really worry about once we get everything all laid out.
right.
Because, you know, I'd also like to see at some point to see if we can't get Miss Victorian to sell us some of the land. You know, but that's going to take a lot longer distance, and I'd like to at least save that. You know, that'd be the last piece that we could put in if we need to. So,
Not a problem. We'll take care of it.
all right, go ahead. Then I'll let you.
First item of business is we do have, for the sewer line rehabilitation of Helen and Barclay Street area, finally, it's over with. I guess you could say that we have the clear lien certificate, and this project was actually received a year ago, July, and then we enjoyed our hurricane and whatever. So, but it's our recommendation that the final pay request number 6 to E.B. Futch in the amount of $16,354.65 be considered for payment on this project.
I don't think they did. I didn't get a copy of it either. But that's so. This is the. Yeah, we did. They.
And we just got this after the.
Okay. So this is the retainage.
This is the
basically all of it.
retainage, this is correct.
So this is the retainage on it that we held back.
Yeah, the 45-day clear lien advertisement period is expired, and they have their, they furnished us a clear lien certificate, and it's all.
Now they got all that cleaned up. Hey,
This-
Pat, they got everything done on that back. You know, because I know there was some issues that there was some things left open. Did they get that taken care of?
From the hurricane debris from the road pavement,
No, from the road pavement, from the Barclay stuff.
they're still,
This is the sewer, this is not the road pavement.
Oh, the sewer. Okay.
Yeah, this is the sewer.
Okay. Yeah, that was the first thing that we had to get done.
Yeah, we had to get the sewer
okay.
repaired before we could do the street.
My apologies, I was
No
thinking
problem.
road. All right. Yes, a motion to pay $16,354.65.
Do we need to amend the agenda first before we
No,
do that?
because it's all under his architect report. We don't necessarily detail, we let him bring them up as they come up, so.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
You opposed? Okay.
Going down the list, I see the Hurricane Laura repair for the wastewater lagoon. We're steady working on those sets of plans. In fact, I spent most of the afternoon today with the electrical engineer to try to make sure we can get our electrical power to the aeration equipment that's out there. And also now we're having to comply with what they call code compliance, and so we have to bring things up to the current standards and specifications. And so, but we're moving forward on that. And
Yeah. So is it still looking about 1.6 million?
yes, that's
or is
correct.
it gone?
In that order of magnitude, that's correct.
Okay. This is all the sewer repairs and upgrades, you know, and this is, some of this we're still trying, or we're attempting to see if FEMA can't assist us on some of that. Is that kind
That
of
is
still?
correct. Every Tuesday, we have a conference call with our handler, I guess you could call it, and talk about different things. And I know y'all have gotten the perimeter fence project moving.
Yes, we'll talk
So
about that.
That's a good thing.
All right.
Okay. The next item is the asphalt paving of Barkley and Helen. As you well know, the asphalt is down, but they've been having a problem getting the shoulders cleaned up because Mother Nature has not been kind to us. They tried to come last week, but they would just make more of a mess. They're trying to get dry
it when it's
material
dry.
to work with. But the good news is, I noticed in my inspection that the hurricane debris has finally been cleared up of the shoulders, which was in the way. So at least that's out the way. So I talked to the contractor today, and he says, well, as soon as weather gives us a chance, we're going to be finishing it. So
Okay.
they've got a little bit of pavement marking to do, and then that's about it. So-
And that's in its 45-day waiting
No,
period?
sir, we
for
have
the-
not accepted this project yet.
Okay, okay. Well,
So
I wasn't sure.
we had a big pay request last month, and we'll probably have another smaller one when we do the shoulder work. We've got limestone,
Okay.
topsoil, and stuff like that, and some other minimal things. But no, I have not recommended it for acceptance yet because
Okay.
they still have to do a
Quite a bit.
few pay items, and but it's coming. It's coming.
So I've heard that everybody's kind of happy with the road. It's just the pipe bursting that's aligned, you know, beside it, that there's been some issues, I think, with the water pipes and
Right.
things. And I think we've talked about it, and I think we may have a little bit of a handle on it, that hopefully it's, you know, trying to remediate to keep it to a minimum. But I do understand that that's, you know, this is a special case when they're digging down and, you know, those lines are only like 5 or 6 inches below the
Right.
surface, and that
That's-
does create problems.
That was problematic when they were trying to stabilize the road bed, and the water services were so shallow. I guess they were installed later in life, and they were just right under the,
Yeah,
bearing
or
surface.
maybe at the
Yeah.
time it was deep enough,
Yeah.
but then as they've removed things,
you
that's,
know,
you
and
know.
I think the town came to our aid there by repairing all that good stuff. But
So-
everything it's always something, you know.
All right.
And the last item on the agenda that I see is the North Store Avenue Drainage Project.
Yes.
That was awarded last meeting to McManus Construction. The contract documents have all been prepared, executed, signed, and bonds obtained, and those were delivered this month. And so next step is to schedule the pre-construction conference and start assembling the materials and try to get started with that project.
A question for you, Cindy, on the asphalt paving and stuff. Where are we on filing and getting that money back from the parish? Is that, you know, do we have to wait for anything from Walt's side to be able to start?
We just submitted all of the receipts for the last one, which is $170,400, and that was on the drainage. We will, we have to complete for the paving. After the paving's finished, then we'll
Yeah.
submit that.
Yeah, I didn't know if we can start getting that documentation, or if we had to wait till final payment, you know, I didn't know if we,
Until they're complete with
making sure our cash flow comes in from all these programs, you know, we've got 3 of
it.
them.
I did get an email saying that they were going to submit all the invoices for our payment, and that was last week. I sent it early last week, so we should be getting something soon on that $170,000.
Okay. Well, I got you a few things. I mean, it's not, I would do. What's the status for the Calcasieu Road and Drainage? Are we, they're going to do that program? We talked about maybe doing it down David Street, on the drainage, or Fairfield, or one of them, to put it in. Is that still on? Have you heard anything?
I haven't heard anything.
Because usually it's about this time, isn't
Right.
it, that we would?
Normally, they send out a packet. I know that the rhythm is was discombobulated, if you will, with the COVID process, and they changed the way they did things. And I think there actually was a later submission date, because they were off. But I haven't heard anything about the parish trust fund package this year.
Yeah, because I'd like to, no matter what, I'd like to make sure we have one or two
Make
projects.
an application, yeah.
You know, and ready, so, you know, you may want to go ahead and start putting them. One we talked about is the back part of the drainage down at the end of David Street, you know, coming this way. And the other one that may be a potential is over there around Fairfield or Fairview, whatever it is, all back there. You know, that's another real likely candidate for, you know, if we can improve the drainage, you know, not necessarily that, maybe that street, the street over, but that area, you know, that always floods, whatever we can do.
Okay, well, I'll see what I can find out about the status.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we don't get caught, you know, always, you know.
Right,
take-
last minute, yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, I think you've submitted the stuff for the HVAC system on the.
That would be Jeff.
Jeff, okay.
Okay.
That was done, but then the other one.
Was the LCDBG?
Yeah.
And that's been delivered, hand delivered, or whatever.
Yeah, so we're good. I saw it was like 300, was it 360 or
That's-
350?
We were asking for 300 from them, and I think we were about the same for our contribution.
So about
And,
half a million
I think
plus.
though that from what I understand in the process from the new guy, Mr. McGee, I believe is his name, it's kind of like they still have to select you, and then if you meet the mark, then you can add more data or more information, request more, whatever you want.
Yeah, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
we're in the
No,
queue, you
we
know,
got
because
in
you
line.
can't.
We got in line. So
So, okay.
we'll see if we win the lottery.
Yeah, and then the other one, just on your long-term we talked about the big project going down, replacing everything down, you know, Thompson and stuff. You know, with the government funding, that, you know, the $1.1 million, that may be a good one to put in with that one, you know, that we were talking about, and asking for the DEQ. You know, that means it's less money that we would have to borrow. And, you know, we talked about this, I think, trying to.
You're talking about this, that was the revolving loan, is that what you're
Well, we looked at a revolving loan, but if I can get grants and, you know, FEMA and everybody else to pay for it, you know, I'd rather
Right.
do that. But
Yeah.
I'm saying that this 1.1 million, is we're gonna be very restricted on what we can spend it on, water, sewer, that type of thing. And we, you know, we were talking about that was gonna be $2, $3, $4 million. That may be a good one to go ahead and use it as seed money, and, you know, we'll see what we need to borrow after that, but you have to have that in place. And we may go after DEQ funding, we may go after FEMA, you know, hardening dollars, you know, because at some point, we're going to have to expand for what's going on with the mall. I did get an email where they're marketing it very heavily, you know, to commercial activities. So we probably need to start thinking about that, because I'd rather get it done in time to handle new stuff than to
Right,
have
right.
it come in and then we're doing catch-up.
Right, yeah, we have to look at that, because that was that sewer project that we had
Yes.
different scopes on. And some of that depends upon if it's new work or if it's rehab work. There's certain boxes you have to check to be eligible for funding, et cetera. Or if you do have to get right away, it's procedural that you follow. So, it's gotta go through the red tape jungle.
Okay. Well, no, I just want to kind of put it on, because that
Yeah.
looks like it's becoming, you know, it looks like it's coming on pretty quick, you know, unless the council has some others, you know, some other area you'd like to address, which I'm open for. I'm just making sure that we keep our plate full and have options at any time on all that, so. Thank you much.
Okay, thank you. Y'all have a great day.
All right. Sounds like we're keeping you pretty busy, Walton, and it sounds like it's getting worse,
The Lord
so,
has continued to bless me every day.
thank
I
you.
have to go to the exercise course.
Thanks. All right. The next item is update on the wastewater treatment facility. I think that's what he went over, okay. Those are the items. Okay, the next item, I guess, a sewer superintendent update on the status of what else is going on. What's going on, T?
Hello, good evening. How you guys doing? Since the last council meeting, we have installed a check valve, a new wear plate, and put a new housing at the U-Locket lift station. We changed our relay switches at our Beanfield location, installed a rebuilt shaft housing at our Texaco lift station. We serviced our portable pump. We put in a sewer tap and pipes for 119 and 121 Eli Road. We checked on sewer complaints for 107 South Welty, 212 South Bowers, and 304 South Bowers. All complaints weren't the responsibility of the town. On a side note, due to being understaffed and backed up a few months, some of the companies that mark our utilities, they can't mark them in 2 to 3 business days like they did before. So now it's almost like a 2 to 3 week wait. And before utilities are marked, we have to wait till we can dig and start on the project if it's not an emergency. We're pretty much sorry for the inconvenience, but it's kind of something that we kind of held up on and something we don't have is out of our hands.
Okay. Do we have any kind of possibilities of an alternative, you know, having other companies looked at or anything like that that we can work around?
Pretty much you can maybe call for an emergency diary, but that may work once or twice, but it has to really, really be an emergency.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you much. Then is Clayton here? Are you Pat, you want to give an update on the streets?
We talked about it a little bit earlier. We did start the trash pickup, but again, whenever it rains, it exacerbates the problem and it just shuts the landfills down. So it's taking longer than we thought, but we do have 2 companies working it, Acadiana and Land Management, and they're doing a really good job picking it up, and it's going fast whenever they can do it. Okay, so we're kind of waiting on Mother Nature to leave us alone.
And then people are putting some in, so at some point we will call the date, but at this point, we're just gonna keep picking up just to keep, you know, to keep the town, it's in the town's best interest to look as best as it can. I know there's some places that, you know, some people are abusing it. At that point where the abuse becomes, I guess, a problem for us, we will get Keith involved and get his ordinance enforcement person involved. And we may still end up doing it, but that cost will be transferred to the property owner. You know, but at this point, we'll try to keep going. We still have some funds. We did receive the $100,000 from the state that pays for things that FEMA's not going to pay for, which is this type of stuff. It's going to cover some of this, probably cover some of that. Now, as far as the ditch, you know, we talked about, you know, digging out ditches and stuff. We did contract with a company. What's the status on that right now?
They're going to start July the 26th. And we've got 6 different areas that we've got laid out, and they've already been checked out by Walt, and we know which way the water's supposed to flow on each one of those areas.
Okay. And if you've got a concern in certain areas, you know, y'all welcome to get with him, and if it's not on there, we'll make necessary, you know, adjustments to ensure it is, so.
Yeah,
you
we've
know,
got a list. We're starting off small, 6, and then we'll go some more. We've got more
well,
than 6.
I'm just saying though, if we have a certain
got a whole
problem,
town to look at,
We
yeah.
got a certain problem area, I want to make sure that we're.
And that's what we kind of did. We looked at our problem areas, and that's how we started the addressing portion of it.
So, and I understand we're doing, got the fire people out doing hydrant,
right.
flushing of the,
Scooter and Company have been helping us. We're starting to do some flushing on all the culverts, a little bit at a time whenever he has spare time and we have spare time, but we have been hitting that whenever it's not raining.
okay.
And on the trash pickup, we are marking, we do have a map, we are marking where we picked up.
No.
So we can make one sweep and not
Well,
have to
like I
double
say,
back.
if we need to go back through, I don't mind, you know, because we do have sufficient funds that the state did give us for this type of stuff. And, you know, initially, you know, we'll be a little bit tolerant, you know, for you know, timing, but that's going to come to an end, you know, when that kind of runs out. The other one I was going to ask, and you know, we do have a street sweeper that we bought used. It was $12,000 we bought. You know, we're trying to get that done. We're going to try on the weekends, or are you going to?
We'll try when it's not raining.
Yeah, we got it. Of course, that's.
I mean, that's where we are. It's just, it's killing us. It's every day.
But we're trying to keep the nails and stuff off the roads,
Yeah.
you know, on the side streets and
Yes,
things
sir.
like
We've
that.
got plans
so-
to do it, just we need some dry weather.
Okay. Anything else I'm
No,
missing out on
that's
that
it for
one?
now.
Okay. Charles, you want to come up and give us an update on water?
Real quick on that.
Yeah.
I would suggest that y'all let the people of Highway know when you're gonna stop. The
Well, we
trash
will.
pickup.
We
Well, I
will.
know, but there was some miscommunication. A lot of people thought it was gonna be one day, and some people thought it was gonna be a week.
Well,
So if I get it.
If it hadn't rained every day,
No,
it would have
I'm
been
sure.
a week. But
But
it's,
the other thing, your street sweeper should follow them, because the guy, I'm pointing at you, Pat, not at you. Yeah.
just to kind of keep
because-
it picked up.
Yeah,
from all
because
the
some of
stuff.
the things where they were picking up, they ended up having limbs and sticks and things in the street, and
It's a
it
good
made a
point.
mess. So you got the street sweeper, I would say
Yeah.
use it.
That's a good one to do. So, all right. Hey, all right, Charles, you want to come up and talk water real quick? Just. I know. Hey, you're doing a good job, man. I tell you. Hey, just to let you know, we, in our hurry to get all the meters in place, we're not going to put meters in places that are not currently being charged for services, just to be able to prioritize on getting meters in for those that are using it. You know, before we were putting them in irregardless. Hey, there was a meter here, we put a meter in, you know, irregardless of whether there was service or not. What we've decided to do is we want to focus on getting all the meters put in for those that are in service. As we go and turn on service, we will install new meters at that point, or as we do it, just to save us some time, you know, and focus and trying to get all these installed by the end of this year, so.
Hopefully, yeah. Okay, since the last meeting, the town's done the lead and copper samples. I think that gentleman over there was one of the residents that came in the other lady council. Thank y'all for pulling the samples for us. Everything come back good on all of that. We don't have a problem with lead or copper. We have done a sanitary survey with LDHH, and all good. So far, just a few little minor stuff, paint job here or there, but no major deficiencies or anything like that. We had one ball advisory on East Second when the debris people busted that water line at the end of East Second and that little park or whatever that little parkway or whatever that little street is. So we had a ball advisory there. We fixed it real fast, got the people's water and stuff. We ain't got very many meters in this month since the last meeting, probably 15 to 20 because of the weather. The weather plays a big part on all of this.
Weather, busted lines, and
Yeah,
all
and
the other
fixed-
things that have.
Fixed a bunch of, smaller leaks around town. We put in the 2 new taps on Eli, same place James put in the sewer taps. And that 119 and 121 Eli, I think the addresses are.
I guess we're still waiting for the generator to
generator
come in,
still, yeah.
another 4 or
Couple-
5 weeks. So.
Yeah, a couple months or so. That should be that.
Yeah, but y'all running that backup generator.
Yeah,
fairly
they test
frequency
it. They test
as
it.
as a
Test
mitigation.
it every
so.
week. Every Friday, Pat goes in and he tests it, make sure it's running and stuff like that.
Good to go.
But
Anybody got any
that's about
questions?
it.
Fantastic. Thank you much.
Thank y'all.
Keep up the good job, man. All right. Next item, Iowa Volunteer Fire Department.
Good evening. All right, stats for the month of June. We had 18 medical calls, 9 crashes, 5 of them were on Interstate 10. We also responded to 1 power line down, 2 vehicle fires, 4 structure fires, 10 fire alarms, and 1 fuel spill, total of 45. Like Pat said a while ago, y'all brought it up. Per the town's request, we started helping blow out culverts. We're knocking those out, and as Pat said a while ago, the weather is not our friend this time of the year. Apparently, it's monsoon season, and nobody put the memo out. So as we have time and the weather cooperates, we're getting out and trying to do this and helping the town. with blowing
You're
it.
also trying to do the flow testing on some of that also?
Not just yet. We're
yet.
knocking out one thing at a time. Also, and just for everybody to be aware, this week we are hosting a structural collapse class at the fire station. So if you see a big USAR trailer or Louisiana Task Force team trailer rolling around town, there's no need to be alarmed. We're training. We're going to be up at different places at different times during the day
I thought
around
maybe you
town all
wanted to
this week.
collapse that fire station so you can get a new
Well,
one.
we're going to be playing with it too. So it is a practice area for our practicals. But again, this is just something else that we're going to be training on to better serve, should the need ever arise, or we have some type of horrific event that we've already all experienced as it is. So we're just trying to be better prepared and get ahead of the curve, more or less. So we're doing as we can, what we can. So unless y'all have any questions for me tonight, it's short and sweet for me.
I have one quick question.
Yes, sir.
To my knowledge, the fire department's budget decreased or is decreasing for the upcoming year from the fire board like 35%
That's across the parish.
across the parish.
That's across the parish. Everybody took a budget reduction of 35%.
Right. So that's pretty impactful for you guys.
Yes, it is. Anybody else?
I do want to make, while you're up there, one of the
Yes,
things that we're going to talk about, and it affects the fire board, we're looking at possibly acquiring some land, the DEQ, how do I want to say, under the brownfield, we may have the opportunity of picking up land that the parish will pay for, clean up and stuff like that. We're also looking at the land next to it, both sides, to see acquiring it, to make sure we have sufficient land so that we would have enough space if we wanted to put in an emergency response center, which would be both fire and police department. We're hoping that we would be able to pick that,
Where is that location at, Mayor?
on 90, right there where the old, where the concrete gas station is?
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about now.
It
Yes.
would be that whole
Ponza
block. We're looking at, we may not be able to get the whole block, but at least get enough. That land, I think, is an acre, and we also have maybe the ability to purchase the lot and a half behind it. The old house we'll have to tear down
You're talking about
anyway.
where the land is for sale by Century 21 right now,
Yes,
correct?
yes. But I'm saying we're looking at, maybe acquiring, that whole block if possible. You're talking about 3 or 4 different landowners and everything, but and part of it would be paid for. We're hoping that under the brownfield, there's potential contamination, that either the EPA or the DEQ would pay for it and donate it to us, because it's cleaning it up. But reason I'm bringing it up, I didn't know what y'all were doing, but, we're very, how do I say, amiable to, if you want to go there and say, let's put in a emergency response center for both, putting it up the hurricane proof. And I don't know what y'all planning because nobody's told me, but I'm just saying.
I can't speak on behalf of the board. I'm going to say that. I'm going to refer you back to the fire board on that. That is a decision on behalf of the fire board, so I can't speak on their behalf. I do know
Wow.
we're going forward with our plans, trying to get our building rebuilt as it is. So that's where we're staying with FEMA. Y'all are going through it just like everybody else is.
Yeah.
The process with FEMA is long and slow and arduous. We're making progress, but as far as where it stands.
I want to make sure you're aware of it,
Yes,
though,
sir.
so that y'all can discuss it and let us know, because, we're going to get an architect here within within a short period of time to design with certain assumptions in place on that, and that's a key assumption.
What's the timeline looking like?
Keith, what are you looking like? We're trying to get it within a couple of months, at least within the next 2 months of getting that. Now, the actual land process will take a little longer because we'll have to determine, if there's contamination, how it's going to be cleaned up and stuff like that.
Refurbishment of the site.
But we have to have a architectural plan in place to be able to present to them, for them to donate, before all that happens. And so, I want to be able to go ahead and get that process started. But part of that assumption is, are we going to build it with emergency response center with the fire, or are we just looking at it for a police station? That makes a pretty dramatic difference.
With building size and everything in the such,
Yes.
I understand that. I'm open to anything, but again, that goes back to the fire board. I can't speak on behalf of the fire board. That's something
Well, I
that
just want to bring it up so in case, sometimes I can't make it, you can bring it up to them. And
I'd be more than happy to bring it up.
'Cause I
When we
know
get
it-
architectural plans.
I know at one point, I guess it was brought up to me this last month about whether we would be interested in, buying that from y'all, that lot, if y'all went somewhere else and built it. I mean, that was presented. Of course, I'm all for that if we could expand our city waterworks, that works right in. but, you know, I don't know what all's going on. I'm left out of the loop on all this, and I just want to make you aware.
Yes,
We
sir.
are starting to take action on our part, and it, you know, we're willing to incorporate or whatever. You know, it's easy to ask for money for grants when you're doing both of them.
Well, yeah, I
From
mean-
FEMA and hardening than one or the
That's
other.
critical infrastructure for the city also and for the citizens, so I understand that completely, and I appreciate you bringing it to my attention. As far as when the architectural plans come into play,
Well,
whenever the
We're going to
conceptual
identify,
drawing.
we're going to try to get that within the next month, identify who we want to do it and get an idea, but that's where I'm saying I need the feedback from y'all, you know, if you are or not,
I'll be
or
able to
don't
go-
know.
I'll be able to go walk the property in the next few days, on break, in between with the class going on, and present it to the fire board next week if you're not gonna be there, or any representatives from
I'm
town. I'll be
gonna try,
happy.
but I'm just saying, I want to make sure that everybody, we're all on the same wavelength, so.
Okay.
Same note, if I can say something.
Yeah, come on up, Keith.
Also, this is an emergency response center, so we want to be efficient. We already paying dispatchers 24/7. It is a delayed response when you call 911 and they got to filter through to notify the agency. You'll have a direct line and we can use the same dispatchers the town's already paying for out of the police budget. And they can also notify you a lot quicker and it should increase your response time. That's another big plus.
Okay. I just, like I said, that this is all, we're moving fairly long. We're finding out, we're having a lot of a lot of ability to have reimbursement from different sources. And like this brownfield, this really caught us off guard. But it benefits the town, because if you have some contamination anyway, we don't want that in our town anyway. You know, and the state will pay for it and make sure it's taken care of. You know, that works ideally back into the long-term concept of what we want for our town.
I understand. And like I said, it'll be presented to the fire board. If you're not present at the next meeting, it'll be presented to them.
Okay.
And at that point, it'll go into their hands and we'll filter it as we can. So, but I appreciate you letting me know though.
All right.
So, all right. Any other questions for me this evening?
I think the only other question is that y'all got a grant for a new truck?
You tell us out of class on me.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. The reason I'm asking is because at one point y'all were going to, we had, I guess, going to do a donation for some of our vehicles. We didn't know, is that still valid? Y'all still want them?
That still is valid, and as far as the other, I hadn't even notified the fire board on it yet.
Okay, well, I was told that somebody was, so.
Yeah, you got me out of class on that one, so now I gotta tell. Our
That's all
wonders.
right.
So, all right.
All right, thanks.
All right, not a problem.
Keith, you want to come up and give us an update?
How's everybody this evening? I'll go ahead and start with the stats and stuff first. Our stats for the month, we had 50 offenses, total of 454 citations and summons and tickets, 10 traffic accidents, 1 with injuries, 12 arrests, and they handled 266 calls for service. Need a motion to transfer Deanna from full-time dispatcher to part-time dispatcher. She took another position.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I need a motion to transfer Jeannie Dugas from part-time to full-time dispatcher.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I also need a motion to, Bubba, help me, donate or transfer, whatever the proper legal term.
Transfer, I know, I saw that donate word, let's do transfer.
Transfer the
That's
two,
just a game.
I understand, donate the 2011 Ford F-150 Super Crew VIN ending last four VIN 1223 to the Highway Volunteer Fire Department.
Can we put these together, or do they need to be separate?
We can do it, but that's all, yeah, and the other one is the 2013 Ford Interceptor. It's a Explorer. Last four VIN 8859, also to Fire Department.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, thank you. Yeah, we had a phone conference today. We've been looking after that last meeting on Miss Abear's property. And I was trying to brief you on it, but
Sorry.
from what I gathered, Cindy's working on a grant that we likely can get this property at minimal or no cost. And they'll clean it all up. It's about rehabilitating our town and getting all the junk stuff out and cleaning it up.
Getting
And I
the
think
tanks
that's
out.
a good project, and we want to build our facility there or start it, and we want to expand. I spoke to the Prejean brothers about buying, they have an old house that needs to be cleaned up. They're interested in selling that property. And if we can do this corporately, I also spoke to Ms. Duncan after the last meeting. She owns the,
To the
to
east.
the east
Yeah.
on that frontal property on 90, and she hadn't made up her mind. It was for sale, and she said she wasn't sure, and I told her, just think about it and let us know. But the objective is if we can purchase that and look to the future and build a center that would house police communications and fire, hurricane-proof, so that we could all work together. And I think that would benefit the citizens very well.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
it's right there, access on
and like I
90,
told
which makes
y'all
it
about the
easy to-
communication and response times are very important. And if we have a number that our citizens can call and we can respond to the police and fire immediately and faster, 5 minutes don't seem like a long time. But I'm gonna tell you, when you got a delayed line or something holding 5 to 10 minutes, that can mean the difference in life and death. You can ask Scooter that.
Yeah.
So, and we can't do all this overnight. We can do this in phases, but the first phase is for if we can acquire property
At
that's
no
at
cost.
minimal cost or no cost, I think that'd be a wise, frugal decision for the finances of this town to start allocating and looking
not
towards
only that,
doing
but
that.
it does clean up a potential
cleans it up.
environmental site because that's been there for 50 years and you know, and they will pick up the cost of doing that as part of the thing, you know, as part of our
Yes.
commitment to, you know, to be able to put it and make it productive.
And
I
he
think-
also said, I think we asked in our conference call, what would be the quickest time to probably get all the tanks removed and a due process to get all that cleared out. And I think he said the fastest, if Paul asked about expediting it, would be March. That we, like, if everything goes
And what-
perfect, we can have the tanks out and we can
Yeah.
have the dirt field back, everything cleaned up
The
and
biggest
prepped.
Yeah, the biggest issue is, you know, you could probably get EPA, DEQ to pay for the, how you say, the site testing where you have to drill and stuff like that. But then that will take a year, year and a half, 2 years. And I volunteered that, hey, if the town pays for it, you know, to speed this up, yeah, that would be a cost. But then we would know the extent, you know, of what they're gonna pay for it. And it also would clear up on these other lands that are adjoining it. You know, there's a whole question, if you have contamination there, there's a good possibility that you may have it on those adjoining properties.
It could, it depends on
And so,
how
and so
the
we
volume of fuel
would,
left
we would
in the
clear
tank
that
and
out.
all that.
In addition, if it was, they would also pick that up too. So, you know, it's really behooves the town to get that done because that's you know, that's an
And you're-
eyesore for the
You're also
town. no
helping
matter
the
what.
pollution. I mean, if you got tanks in the ground seeping hazardous waste right now, and we can clean all that up, it's not just about one issue, just build a police station. It's about corporately cleaning up pollution, getting rid of the junk property that needs to be cleaned up. That's an eyesore when you drive into this town and it looks nice. And working together with your EMS. You're gonna combine all your EMS together and be more efficient. So it's a big package that y'all have opportunity to start working on. And like I said, we take baby steps.
Yep.
But we gotta start somewhere.
Is,
and I
is the
think-
appraisal scheduled?
Well,
Yeah.
that one
Cindy-
we have to be very cautious on, and I'm working with Mr. Bouquet because there's a whole bunch of things you don't want to get you don't want to be seen as saying you are accepting this land, you know, because if it ends up being a very high cost to clean up, you know, that could be to our detriment if we're seen to be approaching
Daniel,
it.
the way the guy was explaining it, they got to get these tests done first.
Yeah,
And
and
after
so,
that, and they're gonna do an assessment, and once that assessment's complete, then we can move forward with the next step. But we got EPA and all these
yeah,
federal agencies.
and we want to
gotta
make sure that
clear.
they buy in because they're the ones that'll end up paying for
Yes,
the.
and they should take care of the bill, so.
So there's not much that we can do as far as deciding
Not
until.
until we get that assessment.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Not until we
And
get that
and that's where I'm
assessment.
working real closely with Mr. Bouquet to make sure we keeping everything done, because we don't want to accept even implied acceptance of anything that could be considered environmental cleanup to have to come back after the fact. So,
But as soon
you
as
know,
it gets
things that you would
approved,
normally do,
Oh,
you can't do till you know, somebody checks off. And so we're being cautious, but we're also trying to push it to make it happen, you know, within the next year to make sure all that's done and we can move along to benefit the town. So, and
Well,
we'll,
thank you.
we'll
I
keep y'all
appreciate
informed
y'all.
as we go along.
I
as
do
each step.
appreciate y'all. Might not say it enough, but I do.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes, sir. All right, the next item on the list is a motion to approve Resolution 2021-10, a resolution adopting the 2021 Calcasieu Parish Hazard Mitigation Plan as required by the state of Louisiana and FEMA.
Move to approve resolution number 2021-10.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The next item is motion to approve cooperative endeavor agreement between the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury and the town of Ioway for the purpose of providing a summer food service program and authorizing the mayor to execute said program. This is the same program we put into place every year. This, I think in this case, they're actually making the deliveries, or they're doing, you know, they're not even coming up to the location. They're actually making deliveries somehow, so.
I make a motion that we approve the cooperative endeavor agreement between Calcasieu Parish and the town of Iowa.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, you do have, this is a preliminary financials. We just got the bank statements in. They have to be reconciled. So I'm just giving you a heads up. This is preliminary. There's still adjustments to be made. We will bring the final one with this next week. We are going to have a council meeting next Monday night again for the condemnations that we always have, you know, going forward. And
What's the date next Monday?
the 19th. So, just a couple of things. We did receive from the state the $100,000 that went into sales tax one. Of course, that's what we're pushing through a lot of the cleanup through. We ended up, the total sales tax collected was almost $2.8 million. To put that in perspective, the highest we've ever collected in sales tax in any calendar year in the past was $2 million. So that tells you, you know, we're, you know, for whatever reason, we are benefiting of it. It's benefiting the town on sales tax. You'll see that on some of the revenues, we're still a little under, but that's because we haven't made accruals for end-of-year accruals to put in some of the costs that should normally be for July. You know, sometimes we need to make accruals. That hadn't been made at this point, and it may not be made by next week, but just be aware that if we have any of values that are below, that sometimes that's the reason. For example, energy is one. We know we make an accrual at the end of the year because it's for the period April, May, and June. It's just not showing. The other one is people must really like to come spend money at our little video pokers because you see we're quite a bit ahead. We got $60,000 this month. Now, be aware, next month we won't have anything because the state keeps the first $2 or $3 million, irregardless of where they come from, till they get that total amount done. You know, sometimes it's into August, sometimes it's into September. At these rates, it ought to be a lot earlier than that, but just be aware, you probably won't see anything on video poker for next month, but we're still quite a bit ahead. We may receive, let me take that back, we may receive the July one, the June one in July, so we may get that.
I'm scrubbing July to approve.
Okay, so I'm sure there's gonna be some more money in that. You see, we got our insurance premium, our occupational license, of course, that number's fell down because we didn't have as many businesses renewing. However, we're aggressively making sure everybody complies with the license on that. The police juror, I think that 33,000 ought to be on the line with the intergovernmental. Each month they keep putting it in the wrong one, but that's all part of that intergovernmental. We'll be a little below budget on that, but that's what we anticipated. There will also be another month that we'll have to add in there for June for that period also. Fines, our fines are starting to pick back up, and just, I kind of want to stress, we talk about fines and stuff like that, but really it's the safety on the road. This last 3 weeks, it seems like every time you drive to Lake Charles, there's either an 18-wheeler that's flipped over on the road or there's an accident. Part of that is if we get people watching the speed limit, they may avoid this stuff, but when they're doing 90, 100 miles an hour, invariably it leads to accidents that are a lot critical. So, yeah, we talk about fine, but in reality, it's trying to keep the roads open and keep people going slow enough that maybe they don't have those bad of accidents. I know, like I say, for 2 weeks, you couldn't go to Lake Charles unless you went the back way, because every time you turned around, there was something flipped or turned over on that, so.
And within the last 2 weeks, Scott, did you do something? There's 3 little highway boys.
That
One
lost their
died
life.
and 2 critically hurt.
So, the other things is, you can see, I guess, as far as budget, we're expense on the general fund, we're below, and that's not including some of the costs that really is FEMA reimbursement on some of the overtime stuff, on all of that. We did get a new, Keith didn't mention it, but we did get a new truck in. One of them we ordered. His came in, but the one for Public Works doesn't look like it'll be until September due to microchips. Such a shortage of microchips, and so there's a long waiting list on all of that. So the other thing, Pat, you want to talk about the sewer pond, the fencing that's been done around the storage area, and also about all the fencing that's been done?
Yeah, the fencing around the water plant's been complete. That project is done, paid for, it's over with. The sewer pond people, the Metzen fence is gonna start the sewer pond in about 3 weeks. The material will be here at that point, then they'll get started going around the pond with that one, after they haul the old stuff out.
So, yeah, that's a high risk for us, until we
There's
get
really
that
no
fencing.
idea how long that project's gonna take. Again, weather's gotta cooperate with us. But
And as far as, I guess, is there any other programs that we got going on, just as awareness for the council?
not basically any big ones right now. There's some in the works, but nothing that's worth talking about yet.
Okay, thank you. All right. And then, of course, on the other one, the revenue side on the utilities, as you know, we'll probably have to amend on that one because our revenue fell off pretty dramatically from the number. We lost about 15% of our accounts. The people have not come back and opened up, from, closing out water accounts and sewer accounts, and not, for whatever reason, they haven't gone back and reestablished them. Sometimes it's because there's nothing there. In other cases, they've just not repaired and opened it back up. So, 15% is a pretty dramatic amount, especially given that, we try to keep the rates low and competitive, trying to ease burdens, but that means your fixed costs are not being covered quite as well. I did get where the Ward 8 has raised their water rates, and I'll bring that to y'all as a thing, because at some point we'll have to address, maybe lowering the fixed rate, but then when we start billing for usage, we'll recapture that on heavy usage. We need to start talking about what we're gonna do on that, because, I do recognize that, from the commercial especially, the amount that we were charging, what we received, there was a pretty dramatic increase because of the heavy usage. And we'll see that too, and I wanna give breaks to those people that are lighter users, and let the people that are heavier usage, pick up and pay for what they're using. And so, we need to try to walk that, do we give a break? Also, our garbage, we are still working at that. As they said, they're still picking it up. I'm envisioning that maybe we will bid out that they would pick up the cans, the Waste Management or the Republics. We'll have them bid just the pick up 1 to 2 cans at each location. And then these companies that we're working with, contract with them to go through once a month to pick up the unusual things. It wouldn't be as frequent, but then, it's a way of controlling our costs and not necessarily raising our costs for garbage, even though in fact it's actually going up.
But it would maybe better control.
Yeah, that too. And then we'll ensure enforcement. And then the other is we are still picking up in places. Did they? I don't know what they're going to do on all that concrete in front of your place.
It's not in front of my place.
Well, I mean, right next to yours. We need to. My apologies. I don't mean. I meant on his road, but we noticed it. I'm sensitive to everybody, but trying to see what we can do to get that picked up. To also help, because we do recognize it as an issue. A safety issue and everything else. I just, so. Yes, sir.
So you brought up the garbage situation. Have y'all decided about the Waste Management? Are we going to stay with them? Or are we going to go with somebody else?
Well, that's why I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do it. Waste Management is finally picking up the bags. They actually had someone do it, well, I'm just saying, I've seen that they started.
Today, they picked up the can. The guy actually got out of the truck, repositioned the can, got back in the truck, put the can in, and then I got a new patio, chairs and that. So I had 3 big boxes, and I had some other stuff boxes on the side that couldn't fit inside the can. They're still sitting there.
Well, that's.
Is there a tag? Did they put a tag?
No.
No.
Is there a system for a tag?
No tag.
What's that a tag?
No tag.
Yeah. No, that's actually, Kenneth, what I'm trying to do is get to a point where I can address those things. And basically, I want to get competitive prices. And when I talk with Republic and I talk with Dylan and that kind of stuff, they're all more than happy to want to pick up the cans. But, they all seem to have heartburn or want to give you an excessive price for this other. And if we've got someone that can do it, we'll just factor that into our rates and then just say, hey, we'll bid it and let them dogfight for picking up 2 cans each, at each residence or whatever.
I know the city used to do it themselves. Maybe
we can't do that.
Back.
We are so shorthanded now. That's why we're outsourcing what we're outsourcing. In fact, one of the things I want to make y'all aware of, the other thing that we're fixing to look at outsourcing for about 3 months is cutting ditches and right-of-ways and things like that. We are so backed up that we're working ditches and trying to coordinate all this. That $100,000 that we were given, this will be a perfect thing to give us an opportunity to catch up so that our people can take over when it gets slower without hiring a bunch of people. We're also finding labor's hard to come by, and so we're walking that fine line of keeping the number of people minimal and yet keeping the service level high for everything. So we do have a couple of options. We are going to bid it out. We're working on that right now. Just ask a couple of people, landscape companies and some of these companies that we're using. What do you want to charge us? We'll take them through the town and show them it's not everywhere. A lot of people cut their own grass and things like that, but there are places that aren't. and we need to take care of those places also. So we are going to look at outsourcing that for 3-month time to just see how it works. I know we outsourced the park. That turned out to be a very significant item that's really worked in our favor. You know, the cost is very competitive. They come and do what needs to be done. We're not having to keep up extra equipment. You know, it's saved the park so far in the long run by us doing that and not having, you know, a person assigned to the park. At some point, we may have to, though, as we talk about, this community center or something like that. We may have to bring on people, you know, to do that and give them, you know, responsibility for it. But right now, I think that outsourcing is working for us in this tight field for accomplishing what we need to do for our citizens while not building up too aggressively on our employees, you know, trying to, you know, get the most out of our employees at the most economical. So I just want to make sure y'all aware of that. I am aware that there are some places that the ditches are pretty high and we need to take care of. Part of that is, even if we could take care of it with all this rain, it's been very hard to, you know, to get out there and do it. But that is our next focus after, you know, getting the trash, getting the culverts done, getting the ditches dug. Now we're going to, you know, try to cut and beautify. And I hope y'all enjoyed, you know, what Brent did, you know, putting the flags back out. You know, I think it looked really good, and we're going to do something for Christmas. We're looking at getting those decorations and setting up kind of like I understood the town had years ago, at least through the main fair. You know, I can't promise more than the main fair, but putting up decorations for Christmas, and of course we'll do the flags again for Veterans Day in November. So at that point, I think we've covered everything. Anything you want to add? Teresa?
The meeting Monday night is 6:30.
Yes. That's
I'm gonna have to check with Officer Crooks to see if he sent out notifications.
Well, I told him to correct that the last time, so. Oh, that is the other thing I want to make you, I guess I forgot, did I tell you that we are going to put on our website a list of all the violations that we've sent out notices for cut grass, for condemnations. All of that's going to be on the website so that anybody has an opportunity to say, hey, I've complained that they're cutting the grass over here, you know, it's too tall. You can go look and see what the status is. If it's not on there, then you know something has failed through, then yeah, you need to come back. But instead of calling me all the time or calling Crooks or the councilman, I want to make that so that we're keep it up. And right now we're going to initially update it weekly. You know, we'll sometime, depending on how it goes, if we have to do it more often, we will, you know. But right now we're going to envision doing that on a weekly basis so that the community is well informed on what it is and where. And then you don't have to call me, you know, you'll see the status, you'll know it firsthand, so. All right, I guess motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.